Alrighty then. Successful Indie Author 5-Minute Focus, episode 1209. Chapter numbers, names, both, one or the other? Let's decide. Okay, I've published a lot of books, like a couple hundred. But first, what do you see behind me is the ocean. Got a condo overlooking the beach here in Glen Elg, which is on the suburbs of Adelaide, Australia, South Australia. And I'll do this in the light someday so you can see what I see out there off the balcony. But anyway, here I am set up for the next 3 months here. And let's talk about chapter names, chapter titles. My first book, I put chapter names diligently, went back through, made sure the chapter name related to what was in the chapter, and it went well. Perfectly fine. Sometimes the chapter names didn't relate to what was in the chapter. And actually, I got a couple of reviews to that saying, hey, this chapter title didn't have anything to do with what was in the chapter. Okay, so readers do pay attention. And after that, I read a lot of books, and thrillers generally didn't have it. They just had numbers. So I went with just numbers because it was easy. You just next chapter number. Here you go. And then now I started doing all of my own stuff like formatting, audiobooks, and things like that. Audiobooks, especially as you copy over the chapter names and you just have numbers, boy, it's easy to get lost. And that makes it a little harder. It's harder to look at. It's harder to embrace. It's harder to remember where you were. So I started going back to chapter names, even with just a single word that's not too descriptive. Compromise, all right, as a chapter name. But I've decided that chapter names work so much better for me in science fiction and in thriller, action, adventure realms. So I'm doing chapter names just because it looks so much better when you format. I use Atticus. If I had Mac, I would use Vellum. But in Atticus, you can do the chapter, you can do the subchapter. It automatically generates the number. But it's nice to have that name in there too. And when you look at the pages, the printed pages, the numbers can almost look like a countdown timer. So in thrillers, I think specifically, it works fairly well. But having a name too, boy, that gives it a little more robust nature. So I have gone now back to having a name for all my chapters. I like the way it looks better in a format, in paperback, as well as ebook. And most especially in audiobooks, when you copy in those chapter names for the next audiobook. And I think it also improves the reader experience. Since I've added chapter names back in, especially ambiguous chapter names, I haven't had anybody comment or worry or be concerned that it didn't match with the content of the chapter. But I can always go back and add it back in. All righty then, the short one today, but chapter names or chapter numbers, and you need to do something because you'll publish your book on Amazon and it'll give you an error saying this does not have a table of contents. Table of contents, well, it's no big deal. It's automatically generated. So I ignore that error, and a bunch of my books have it because I just have the numbered. Why do I have to include a table of contents that says chapter 1 is 1, chapter 2 is 2, chapter 3 is 3? You see how kind of silly that looks because Amazon is going to automatically generate it anyway. So might as well have names on them. And that's my reasoning. So that's what I'm going with. All right, there you go. Enjoy the beach. It's out there. If I open the door, you can hear it. You might not be able to hear it, but I can hear it, surprisingly, with my bad ears. So, all right, you guys have a great day. Peace, fellow humans.